Hello everyone from Studio 10 in Kilkenny. Another episode, Coffee with Ania. And today my guest is Helena Power. Hello Helena.
Hello, how are you?
I'm very good. Helena, you are from the Kilkenny Traveller Community Movement.
Yeah, I am. I'm working as a community development worker there.
Well done. How long does this happen?
I'm working as a community development worker since February, and before that I would have worked as a wellbeing and awareness worker within the health unit within the organisation.
And where are you from? Of course we know in Ireland, but...
Urlingford, County Kilkenny. So
Urlingford.
yeah, I'm in the north of the county. Yeah, born, bred and reared.
Wow. You are a young woman.
25. So,
well,
yeah.
I'm jealous now. Okay, I'm not supposed to. So I'm very jealous. Tell me something maybe about your community. How was for you growing up?
I was very lucky growing up. Travellers in Ireland face a lot of discrimination and stereotyping. But I suppose I was very much integrated within my local community, and I finished school. I went to school, primary school in Urlingford, and then went on to secondary school in Closterware out in Johnstown. And yeah, I was very privileged, I suppose, with the upbringing that I got and with the education that I received. Yeah. Unfortunately, the rest of the community, for a lot of the other members of the community, it's not the same.
I know. Actually, I saw many children that doesn't actually going to school.
Yeah.
And this is the choice of parents, or you think it's like a pressure from the others community, something, in that way?
Yeah, I think it's a mix of everything, to be honest. I think that sometimes travellers don't see the benefit or the importance of having their children in the education system. And I think that's got to do with lots of different reasons, but I think one of the main reasons for that is because of the outcomes that travellers have within the education system. Up to very recently, there would have been traveller-only classrooms and traveller-only classes and stuff like that. And for many,
very bad actually to do with something like this.
Yeah. So it was completely segregated, and travellers would have been given colouring in pictures to colour in, whilst everybody else would have been told to learn their spellings or their ABCs or whatever the case may be. So the literacy levels within the community are very poor, and I suppose the engagement with the education services then wouldn't be great following on from that. So I suppose that's something within the KCTM and the Kilkenny Traveller Community Movement that we're trying to address.
How people can find you if they want to know more something about the travellers community, or if someone from your community wants to be involved?
Yeah, so we have a Facebook page, KTCM, and they can contact us through that. We also have a Twitter. I'm not sure the handle.
I'm still learning about Twitter. I don't know how
I'm the same. I'm barely getting the hang of tweeting myself, never mind the organisations one.
I posted something like yesterday, and I was like, how does this work? You know, like which one is? And I just posted it. I say, too much words, like I don't get it.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think
still learning about the social media.
Yeah, I think Twitter is very hard to get a handle on, but it's such an important platform then as well to be kind of.
Yeah. Do you like social media?
Yes, I do. I like social media, and I think that it can have a great benefit to people if used correctly.
Yes, exactly.
And I think
because
that
I'm more on that one side. I like and I don't like. I know it helps when you build your business.
Yes.
But also it's so many really stupid things over there. Which one I think so they're supposed to be just. Not for young age.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think when social media really came to light to me was around the time of COVID. So because of the literacy issues and stuff that kind of are within the community, our primary healthcare workers brought out videos and kind of segments that they had done to promote health messages within the community. And there's, I suppose, a lot of the community would be, especially the younger members of the community, would be very familiar with Facebook and how to work. Kind of, they would be literate in that way, I suppose, as opposed to words. But yeah, no,
sometimes it's easy to contact with somebody in that way. Yeah. The people, they are very shy as well. Yeah,
exactly. So there's stuff there around social anxieties and stuff like that it probably would be a lot easier to message somebody rather than having to actually go and face them and speak to them. Tell
me, did you ever experience getting discriminated?
Yes, I have. Again, I'm very lucky, not too many cases compared to what people, I suppose, other people from my community would have experienced. But I have experienced discrimination in on 3 or 4 different occasions, and it was always when I was with other members of my community. So I wouldn't be necessarily what people would, I suppose, identify as a traveller. The stereotype of a traveller, and the way I speak, the way I dress, and the way that I present myself wouldn't be necessarily what they would have in their head when they think of a traveller. But any time that I have experienced discrimination, it's always been with people from my community or from family, when I'm with family members and stuff like that. That would be, I suppose, a little bit more maybe fit the stereotype or the box or the label of what it is to be a traveller. Which, to be honest, and to be honest, there's so much diversity within the community now, and I think people don't get to see, the wider society don't get to see enough of that, and that's something, I suppose, that through my work that I'd be hoping to create a platform for younger generations to come up to showcase that diversity and show that there's not just one right way to be a traveller. There's so much diversity within the community, and there's so much dual identity and stuff like that within the community now that we need to respect it, but we also need to showcase it and create a platform for younger travellers to feel comfortable and have their own sense of identity within that.
Yeah, very good, well done. When did you decide actually to do something about your community? Like, you was very young, like you are still very young, like actually compared to me.
I would
when you actually see like this is important, it's something what you have to do with something, you know.
I would have volunteered with my local organisation, with the KCTM, since I was about 12, maybe.
It's very early, actually, for the young, you know, person.
No, I would have volunteered since I was about 12. My brother was working in the organisation at the time, and I would have went on various kind of youth stuff with as a representative and stuff like that. And then I finished school and I went on to qualify as a beauty therapist, and after having my son I didn't go back to work as a beauty therapist, and I said enough was enough, and I just couldn't. I suppose that's the moment that it really clicked with me, was when I had my son, who's 4 now. I just thought I couldn't look at the injustices anymore and sit back and not do anything about it. And there's fantastic activists within the travelling community that are there, and I suppose they inspired me and motivated me to actually do something locally within here in Kilkenny around it.
Well done. The family is important for you.
Extremely. Absolutely extremely, and I think it's one of the core values to the traveller community is family, and yeah, to me personally, it's the number one priority, you know, and yeah, I suppose I would see my world very much revolving around my son, and to give him the best opportunity in life and to allow me to be the best mother that I can be.
And you are a busy mum.
Extremely.
With 4 years old.
Yeah. And I suppose I'm getting very blessed and very privileged that my mum and my father, and I'm very lucky I have a really supportive family, and I can work full time, and my child is in daycare during the day until 1, and then they take him until I come home in the evening. And which
is a lot of help, actually, because I'm here alone, like with my husband and children, and I remember the time when I got my son first. It's so hard, actually, if you don't have any support. Like, the people say, oh, right, you are not working, you can stay at home, but you need a time for yourself as well.
Oh, definitely.
Even like a few hours.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think even if it was just to get out and go for a walk, or to get out and just without having, and like, it's fine when they're small because you have the buggy and you can, but without having the mom, what's that, mom, what's this, mom, you need to just stop for a minute, because sometimes I think we forget as well that we're women, we're human, we're not just mammies, you know, and I think that's another label that's kind of thrown on to women sometimes as well.
I remember when I met my friend, which one have that time like 2 big girls, and my son was maybe like 7-8 months. He started, you know, just say like a few simply words, and we was staying in the queue in the shop, and then I say like, oh, this is cute, something, you know, how you talk with the little baby, and she turned like, oh, Jay.
Yeah.
I say, what? She say like, oh, one day you will be sick of that. I said, no, it's not like this.
Yeah.
I
Gets
have
like
to
that very
call
quickly.
to her actually
Yeah.
and apologize.
Yeah, no, it gets like that very quickly. But no, I think going back to the support piece, I think that family is extremely important, and I think
Yes.
having that support around you is extremely important. And I can only imagine how difficult it would be moving to a completely different country, or with the way people's circumstances change and they have no choice really to come to another country and stuff like that. So I can't even begin to comprehend how difficult that must be for those types of people, because without me having the support of my family, I wouldn't be able to continue to work.
But I think so community will help a little bit, don't you think? Like
Yeah.
we have like our own friends, our own communities.
Yeah, so there's a
Yeah.
saying, I think it's it takes a village to rear a child, or something to those similarities. But I think it's so true. And I know that there's a neighbour, and she came from a different country, and she lives 2 or 3 doors away from me. But she was looking for advice one evening around her child had gotten a rash, and my mum went down and she was saying, no, I think you need to bring her to the doctor or whatever. But it was just that supportive piece, I suppose, rather than she was trying to video call her own mum, and she was in a different country and there was a time difference, and she was just saying, like, she actually came back afterwards and she was just saying, like, thank you so much. It was just that piece, I suppose, of being able to ask somebody else. But overall, I think that Ireland is a friendly country, and I think we're friendly people, although sometimes within my community especially we don't always feel that, but I think that's why the traveller community in particular have such a strong sense of community and a sense of resilience, I suppose, because we've created that for ourselves where Irish society maybe might have failed us.
Yeah, for me it was like something different, because I came to Ireland 17 years ago. And I was living for 12 years on Hebron. I met travelers community, and some of the situation they was completely like normal. We just met another friends, and some of them they was really difficult. And that was a time when I just realized like there's another like a community in Ireland, which one they are Irish, or maybe I don't understand something. If you can tell me something about the origins of your community, but this is very interesting for me, when they come from, how that was started, everything.
Okay, so we are Ireland's only Indigenous minority, so we are much like the First Nations people of Canada, the Aboriginal people of Australia, the Native Americans. We would have, I suppose genetic studies have been done to prove that we're Irish, but we are different than the settled population. So we would be as different, I suppose, to a settled Irish person as what somebody from Spain would be to a settled Irish person. So we have our own set of DNA and our own, obviously everybody has, but our own set of genetics and stuff coming from that then as well. But yeah, we are an Indigenous minority, and we've been here hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years, and it was originally thought, I suppose, a misconception was that travellers would have came around the time of the famine, the Great Famine in Ireland, but it wasn't true. We were actually here before that, so a lot of people have said that it might have been from the time of the English, the invasion and stuff like that, but I think that again historically it has shown that we've actually been around a little bit longer. So yeah, that's...
I saw one time the TV show actually about the travelers' weddings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only thing I'll say about TV shows and travellers is it's reality TV.
Yes, it is.
And it's not very truthful. And in a lot of cases, especially around like My Big Fat Gypsy Wedding or whatever those types of programmes are around weddings and stuff like that, they actually ended up building the whole case, I suppose, a whole story up behind of prejudice and stereotypes that aren't true.
Exactly, because there was more like a stereotype than not the true. Like, I will be maybe more happy to see more people like you.
Yeah.
Because after 17 years in Ireland, I met you in the last one, I think so, conference in March.
Yes.
And I was really surprised, positive. Because my point of view about like travelers, they were a little bit different. I will be honest, seriously, they was much, much different. And then I started listening your speech and I say, wow.
Yeah.
No.
I think and thank you for your honesty, because I'm the very first one to say that there is a massive issues within our community, both internally and externally. But most of the issues that we are facing now, much like the First Nations people and the Aboriginal people and all these other Indigenous minorities, have been caused by years and years of state assimilation, really. And I suppose since the 1963, there was a commission brought out, and it was called the Commission on Itinerance, and the words that was used was basically the final solution to the itinerant problem. So they wanted to assimilate travellers into settled people, and basically the idea was that we were failed settled people, and they didn't acknowledge that we had our own culture, we had our own traditions, our values, or anything like that. In 2017 then the state officially recognised travellers as an ethnic minority, which means, I suppose, that they now see us as a distinct ethnic group that have our own traditions, our own language, our own heritage and our own culture.
Do you think we need more maybe workshops? When everybody can come in?
I think that there is ongoing work being done, and it's fantastic, and definitely we need more. I think that the services and agencies need to be open to traveller cultural awareness training, and I think that the lack of engagement and the barriers that are felt by travellers need to be addressed, not only by travellers themselves but also by services and agencies, and I think it needs to be a two-pronged approach, and they need to meet each other in the middle. And I think by traveller organisations such as the KCTM and national organisations that I'm also part of, I think that we can work towards that, and we can be kind of broker the deal in between both communities. But at the moment, to go back a little bit, I suppose, with the ethnic minority status, now there is at the Irish Traveller Movement's AGM, one of the outcomes from the day was around a state apology. And I think we're going to start working towards that goal now, to officially get an apology from the state for the treatment of travellers. And we're under no illusions it's not going to be easy, and it's going to be a long, hard battle, but it's definitely one we're fighting, I believe, anyway.
That's good, yeah. How important is it for you to look after your tradition?
Extremely important. I suppose my son, I would have married outside of the community. And then I would have separated and stuff like that. So I've never really followed the traditional route, I suppose, because I would have stayed in school and I wouldn't have stayed at home and stuff like that. But for me, and it goes back to that piece around diversity and what it actually means to be a traveller. For me, being a traveller isn't as much, I suppose, about animals and about horses and dogs and the usual stuff that comes up for travellers, which I fully acknowledge that's an important part to some travellers' lives, but it's not part of my traditions. It has never been part of my family, really. But language, storytelling, family, all those traditions, they're all part of my heritage, and that's something that I feel really important about sharing with my young son. And I suppose more and more travellers now are having dual identity, and my son will fall into that category, and I think it's really important that he understands the importance of both his traveller heritage and then his settled heritage as well. But it's something that I feel really, really strongly about. So
I have two children in school in Ireland. My daughter is in primary school and my son is in secondary. I don't see much children from the travellers community in school, and I see like more boys than girls. If it's something here as well, like it's like, like some communities, they are more like, are the women, they supposed to stay at home with children, and that's not much educate.
Yeah, so again, I think it's changing, and it probably depends on what school and what area and stuff you're going into, but a lot of the time I think that it would have been the case that traveller girls and traveller women would have stayed at home and reared the families and kind of been homemakers, but that's changing very quickly, and I think that travellers are starting to realise that,
because we need more women like you, strong women.
Well, yeah, I don't know if we need any more of me, but we'll see. But you know what? It mightn't be a bad thing.
Yeah.
But no, definitely, I think more and more traveller women are starting to realise that, and older traveller women are starting to see, and parents, like, not only women, men as well, they're starting to see, I suppose, the importance of education, and that they I suppose, the one or two that was coming through before, the fact that they are getting employed now, and travellers are starting to enter the workforce, and they are starting, I suppose, to be visible within their local communities. So I think that that's a really key, important fact that we all need to keep kind of emphasising within our young people, and I suppose that has a part of what our Traveller Pride celebrations every year are. It's about instilling hope and identity within the community, especially young people, because travellers have a much higher rate of suicide than the settled community. So a traveller man is 7 times more likely to take his own life than a settled man, and a traveller woman is 6 times more likely to take her life than a settled woman. But those statistics are based on a 2010 study that was done, which was called the All-Ireland Traveller Health Study, and it's now 12 years on. There hasn't been any follow-up studies done on that, and any traveller on the ground will tell you that the suicide rates now are much worse than what they were 12 years ago. So I believe that those suicide rates are even more so than that, which is just appalling. And like, I think a lot of the time as well, that when statistics are thrown out so much, we kind of just lose insight as to the numbers. We forget that behind every number and every one of those 7 lives is a person, and it's a family member, it's a mother, it's a father, it's a son, it's a daughter. It's somebody's lives, and then a whole family, I suppose, that's left to deal with the aftermath of that.
Yeah. What do you wish for yourself and for the others, for the future?
For myself and for others.
Yeah.
I suppose for the community would be that we start to create leadership within ourselves, and that we start to speak on our own issues, and we create allies within the settled community, but that we're leading the forefront against the hardships that we endure. And I think that I would love to see more travellers finishing education and starting to regain the confidence in the education system, which I know is going to be a hard task, but I just feel that it's very important that the only way that we can move forward is to all come on the same page, I suppose, and especially around education. I think that that's very important.
Yeah, I think so. It's very easy to judge somebody just if someone say like, oh, you are from Travellers community.
And I think the important part is, somebody said to me one day, but you don't look like a traveller. And I said, no,
what does it mean?
Like what does a traveller actually look like?
I heard like, you don't look like Polish. And I said, how the Polish people look? Not like you. I said, oh, okay.
And like, it's that thing, I suppose, of, well, what are you supposed to sound like? What are you supposed to... Like, the only thing that everybody has in common is that we're all completely different. Yeah. It's the only thing that everybody has in common, and it would be a really boring world if we were all the same. So I think that's something that I think is key to remember. In terms of my own hopes for the future, would probably be to lead the Traveller organisation here in Kilkenny, and then eventually go on, well, not eventually, not too far away, hopefully, and move on to politics. So that's kind of where I'm aiming. But as I said, I'm only 25, so I don't want to take over the world just yet. I leave it a little while.
We all have to just sit down every evening and just do with that case, like, you are visual, how you look in the future.
And I think it's really important to have aspirations and goals as well.
Yes, that's true.
So I'm looking forward to working towards
them. It's sometimes like, like when you grow up in one place, you can't believe where you can be for another 15 years.
Yes, exactly.
Like, it's what's happened for me. Like, I'm the girl from Poland, from the very poor family. Like, I remember the days when you open fridge and there was nothing inside.
Yeah.
And now I'm here. Like...
Yeah, very good. I seen something somewhere, and it was you don't have to forget where you came from.
Yes,
you just don't have to stay there.
Yes.
And I think that was really, really key, I suppose, as to my thoughts around the traveller community.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget, I suppose, my roots, my heritage, my traditions, my culture. But I just see a different side to what being a traveller means to me. And I don't think that should be, I shouldn't have to face internalised oppression for that either. So I'm very much looking forward to what the future holds.
And I
I'm
wish you all the
excited.
best.
Thanks a million.
Thank you so much. Thank you. You finding the time for me.
Not at all.
And thank you for everyone, and see you next week.